Now, Rishi Sunak's government, staying on a business theme really, preparing to present its new budget, as Yuka told us about. It's garnering a lot of opinions in the British press. Diptyka Laurent is here to take us through it, Dipty.
That's right. So a lot of anticipation ahead of that budget, a lot of worry as well. Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor of the Exchequer or Finance Minister, is expected to present, is presenting that government budget today. He said it'll be a fair and honest plan for the future. It's something that the ultra-conservative newspaper Daily Express is headlining on today here, headlining on the minister's words rather optimistically on this front page, but there's less optimism in the other papers. Grin and bear it, that's what Metro says, noting that Hunt is preparing a budget to start filling the £60 billion black hole in the economy, and that the budget will be the most severe in decades, while The Eye, another British paper, announces a new age of austerity, it says on its front page, with public spending cuts and tax rises to balance the books after the pandemic, and the former Prime Minister Liz Truss noting that the price of basic goods also are soaring to unprecedented levels right now in the UK.
Yeah, perhaps not surprisingly, Dipty, you found that the cartoonists are having their say.
Well, that's right. The Daily Telegraph's Patrick Blower has this cartoon for us. He sees the budget as taking the UK back to war times with this sort of conscription-inspired poster calling for Britons, saying Britons want you, but they want you to pay billions more in tax. The Independent's Dave Brown, meanwhile, sees the minister's famous red briefcase in the form of an axe there waiting to slash spending in all areas while the budget is revealed this Thursday. The papers are already anticipating that it will be a very painful budget too. The Spectator, a British magazine today, is headlining on this. It says the squeeze here, and the big question is how long will that pain last? And you see there Rishi Sunak and Hunt tightening the corset of Britannia, that iconic helmeted female warrior that represents Britain.
Now let's move on to something else. We're just a few days out from the World Cup, of course, and an Iranian footballer has spoken about the need to use the Qatar World Cup as a platform to speak out against the Iranian regime's crackdown of protesters.
Yeah, pretty brave words from this Premier League footballer, Iran's only Premier League footballer. His name is Saman Hodos. He spoke to the Daily Mirror actually this week, in which he advocated using the World Cup as a platform to speak out about the brutal crackdown of protesters in Iran that we've been seeing for the past months. He said in that interview that Iran Wire is reporting on today, he said that while politics and sports don't mix, the current situation sets a precedent because people are losing their lives to protest in Iran. Now, the World Cup kicks off in just a few days, but the bad publicity is really overshadowing the beginning of the competition, especially around the question of human rights, gay rights as well. And it's something that this cartoonist, a Portuguese cartoonist, is evoking in this cartoon that you see here today. His name is Daniel Garcia. He sees a lot of washing in this World Cup, money, gay rights, women's rights, workers' rights. Qatar and FIFA are desperately trying to present a squeaky clean World Cup, he says, but you do see the blood trickling down from the washing machine.
Yeah, meanwhile, Qatari authorities, they've apologised, haven't they, after a video emerged of a Danish journalist appearing to get shut down by the authorities. It was during a live shot, this, wasn't it, Dipty? That's
right, that live shot was in Qatar. The Danish reporter Rasmus Handholder was doing this live shot when you see authorities interrupting him and demanding that they stop filming. And you see the journalist get visibly angry. He even starts showing them his permit to prove to them that he had the right to film there. And when things sort of got heated up and when the camera operator didn't stop filming, the authorities threatened to break his camera. Now, this video sort of drew a lot of outrage online. Qatari authorities were forced to apologize, but it has been, one more incident to take the shine off the beginning of this World Cup, at least for some fans.
Now, the news magazine Foreign Policy today is looking at a spy crisis that's engulfed Sweden. What's this about, Dipti?
Well, it's a really interesting story. This is a really interesting story about an espionage scandal, as Foreign Policy puts it, that is raising hard questions on spy recruitment. So it's a story of two Iranian-born brothers, one of whom was a Swedish intelligence officer. Both have now been charged with spying for Russia for several years. Their betrayal really highlighting a long-standing issue in intelligence. It is that of foreign-born people, or at least people born in hostile countries, who can be vulnerable to recruitment by these countries or their allies. And Foreign Policy says, it really is a wake-up call, not just for Sweden, but for a lot of European countries where there are more and more foreign-born citizens that give countries like Russia, but also its allies, China or Iran, a larger recruitment pool. The long read is well worth a look today in Foreign Policy, student.
And finally from Dipti, the Scrabble dictionary. It's getting its first vocabulary update in 4 years. I hope there are no rude words.
No, they've actually scrubbed the rude words out.
Oh,
but
good.
you know how important the dictionary is in a game of Scrabble. Yeah. Well, this dictionary, in partnership with Merriam-Webster, is comprised of about 10,000 words now. A lot of new words have been added. You've got sitch, which is short for situation. You've got stan, which is an intense fan of a celebrity, but also words like guac. Hygge, the Danish word for cozy, and adulting, which is when young people accomplish mundane tasks. Unfollow, unsub, and unmute are all internet lingo-inspired words, as zonkey, which is a hybrid of a zebra and a donkey, hangry, and they've turned verb into a verb, so verbing and verbed are also added to this Scrabble dictionary. So
never heard of any of them. I like the idea of zonkies, though. That's quite a nice. Dipti, thanks a lot. Dipti with the papers on France 24.